We also heard earlier today from the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araqchi, who spoke in Istanbul. Now, he condemned in the strongest terms the White House's, in his words, brutal military aggression against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities. He described it as a violation of international law and blamed the White House for the far-reaching implications of its aggression, though he did not specify what those would be. He also said that Donald Trump deceived his own voters by getting involved in this war. He said that he was elected on a platform of ending Washington's costly, protracted wars in the Middle East. France 24's International Affairs editor Shirli Sitbon joins me on set for more. Hi, Shirley. So what should we make of those comments?
Well, we've heard the foreign minister who was telling the international community in this rare press conference that it is not Iran alone which has been attacked, but the whole world, the rule of law, the non-proliferation regime, saying that now there could be chaos after this attack, and saying that the U.S. is solely responsible for anything that could follow, starting with the Iranian response to this attack by the Americans. And he said, of course, he would not say what this attack could be. And journalists who could ask these rare questions to an Iranian official said, okay, we understand that you've said you're excluding any talks right now because you want to defend yourself. There's going to be some kind of retaliation. But what's going to happen next? And basically, the foreign minister said that Iran is not going to change its line. If it's going back to the negotiation table, as many countries have asked it to do, it's going to keep on insisting on something that it has said for a long time, that it has the right to enrich uranium. That's what it said. It was a red line. It says it doesn't want the nuclear weapons, but it doesn't want to depend on other countries for enriched uranium, for its power plants, for civilian uses. So that's what the Americans have been trying to obtain from the Iranians. It was also a message that he had to all Iranians. We can imagine he was referring to those who had protested and criticized the regime, saying that, you see, now all Iranians understand what we're facing, and they should understand that we should now come together. Basically saying they should stop criticizing the regime and back it. Of course, we've heard from many Iranians over the past few days saying that they're angered by Israel, but they're not going to back. Many of them are saying they're not going to start backing the regime, which has oppressed many of them. And perhaps one more important thing that he said, the foreign minister, that tomorrow he's going to meet with President Vladimir Putin, and Russia has just also reacted to the U.S. attacks in recent minutes. So maybe we can get into those reacts. Yeah, the Russians saying they strongly condemn the U.S. bombings of nuclear sites in Iran, saying this is irresponsible. It's a violation of international law. It's a dangerous escalation which has begun and which will further undermine the regional and the global security.
Now, Shirley, in the past hours and minutes, really, we've seen a continuous flood of international reactions calling for de-escalation. We've seen Iran say that they don't know where the diplomacy efforts stand, especially as the country continues to be under attack. So where does this leave things, both from a diplomatic perspective and in terms of some of the options that Iran might be exploring for retaliation?
Yes, exactly, because we can see that the Americans have the weapons, but this doesn't mean, and that's what everyone has said, is that this is not going to resolve the issue, because the know-how of nuclear science in Iran is still there. And if there's no deal, then the Iranians can always rebuild, enrich, and produce new centrifuges. This will continue. So a deal is necessary for any resolution. We've seen several reactions since this morning, with everyone really weighing every word of they've said. Many, like the Saudis, for example, condemning and denouncing the violation of the sovereignty of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Also, we've heard the Europeans insisting also at the fact that Iran's nuclear program was a threat. So every country has its own stance, and we've heard from Keir Starmer again, because we've heard him once. We've read his tweet early in the morning saying that yes, Iran's nuclear program is a grave threat, and then saying that everyone should go back to negotiations. And then again this afternoon, he said that he had a talk. Everyone's talking now in the past few hours. He had a talk with the King of Jordan Jordan and with the Sultan of Oman. Oman, a few hours ago, condemned the U.S. attacks. Oman, the mediator in the recent talks. And he said that they talked together, and what they're saying is that Iran should return to the negotiation table, meaning really pushing Iran to go back now, to resume talks. That's what the Keir Starmer is saying. So everyone's talking, and basically the need is to de-escalate with, especially when you look at, we're seeing here his statement from earlier today. Everyone is calling for a de-escalation. That's the official stance of everyone. Mainly neighboring countries who fear more violence and also this violence spreading to their own areas. All the countries where there are U.S. military bases, too, that could be a threat. Countries like Lebanon saying, we don't want another spillover of a war. We've paid such a heavy price. It's unbearable to us. We're trying to rebuild. And, of course, among some of the elements, some of the things that Iran could retaliate, there's also another option, not just the military option, but also, we've talked earlier about the Strait of Hormuz, which it could perhaps close. You know that 20% of all oil traded globally passes through this narrow strait, just 33 kilometers wide in the most narrow part of it. And it says it has a fleet of fast attack boats and thousands of naval mines that could potentially make the strait impassable. And this, of course, would have major impact on oil prices, including for U.S. citizens, which is something Donald Trump is looking at too. So various things that Iran could do, but as we heard the foreign minister saying earlier, he's not going to tell us what he's going to do. Iran will decide which course of action it will take.
Either way, we'll certainly have far-reaching implications, as you suggest there. Shirli Sitbon, thank you very much.